I'm here today with Angie Smith, Director of the Rowlett Parks and Recreation Department, and I'll be asking her some questions about CAPRA and the accreditation that we just received, the re-accreditation that we just received. So let me start off by asking you, Angie, tell me a little bit about CAPRA and what does that mean for Rowlett?
So CAPRA is a recognition put forth by the Commission of Agencies of Parks and Recreation that really recognizes Rowlett Parks and Recreation as one of the best in the nation. So there are about 176 agencies across the United States that are currently accredited out of 8,000 agencies. And so it's a big deal for Rowlett, and it's a big deal for the Parks and Recreation team.
So what are some benefits to the city of Rowlett for receiving this accreditation?
The main benefit is that the citizens of Rowlett know that their Parks and Recreation department is doing everything the best that it can be done. We have the best policies, we have the best procedures, we have the best programs, we have the best volunteer organization and how we run our volunteer program. We are doing things better than 7,000 other agencies across the nation. We're doing things better than 510 other agencies in the state of Texas. And it also means that when it comes time to apply for grants and it comes time to apply for additional awards, those that are accredited go to the top of the list. It really is across the board in Parks and Rec, the distinguishing factor between these guys do it the way it should be done and these guys just do it.
So tell me about the re-accreditation process and how long did that take and what does it involve?
So our initial accreditation happened 5 years ago, and during your initial accreditation, you work about 24 months prior to having site visitors on site to really gather all of the information for the accreditation process, right? And then site visitors, so it goes to the commission and the commission reviews it. Site visitors come on site 5 years ago, they spend a week here, they go through all of our documentation, they go to all of our facilities, they go through everything that Rowlett Parks and Rec does, and then they award the initial accreditation. Once you are initially accredited, you don't just get to put it in a box on a shelf for the next 5 years and then do it again. So you really have to prove when they come back out for re-accreditation that for the last 5 years that you've been accredited, that you've done what you said you would do. So if we had a policy that said that we're going to track a certain part of information, we have to show where the last 5 years we did that. So the process is similar. We submit what's called a self-assessment to the commission. The commission is a board of about 15 people that are from across the country. They review it, 2 of them review it, then they send it to our site visiting team. Our site visiting team composed of 3 people. They came in the first week of June. They came in on a Sunday. They were in our facility from Monday through Thursday, literally picking through every piece of documentation. So there are 151 standards. At a minimum, everyone has 2 to 5 pieces of documentation that show that we are doing what we say we're doing. In addition to that, they did tours, they visited with staff, they came to the rec center, they went to all of our parks, they visited City Hall. So that is a very long week of having people on site, really making sure that you are meeting the standards that you say you're meeting.
So kind of get into what was one of the things that you had to adjust or change in order to qualify for this accreditation?
One of the biggest things really for us was our partnership with police and how that has really strengthened as a part of accreditation. So the police department and the Parks and Recreation department have always worked well together. We rely on them anytime we have disruptive patrons or we have an issue at a park. But training police staff specifically on parks ordinances and cross-training my staff to be the best liaisons to police was a huge part of this process. And so leading up to it, the police chief and I worked very, very close initially. For the last 5 years, the police chief and Monica Patterson and I have worked very, very closely together to ensure that as we're training new police staff, They know all about the parks ordinances and specific park challenges and things to look for, but also that my team that's here at this community center or that's out in the parks or that's over at the aquatic center has that same relationship, that they know what to do when there is an issue prior to police arriving. And so it was really about training staff to work so much more closely. And that's one of our kind of tenets, is that we serve as a juvenile crime prevention unit for the police department, and that has really helped strengthen that relationship between the two.
Kudos to you and your staff, an amazing group of people. You're an amazing director, and Parks and Recreation is just a very well-run organization with great people serving and great volunteers.
And Blake, we couldn't do that without council. You have to know that, right? So council absolutely shows us support, and the other department directors show us support, and that is what makes Rowlett Parks and Rec what it is, hands down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll ask her about her dog.
Whoa! I have the coolest dog ever! That is the mascot. Have you met the mascot of the Rowlett Parks and Recreation Department?
You can put that in there?